Greetings and what up, though? I go by the vainglorious one, Uncle Vic. Now, I didn't feel like dropping a volume so soon. I thought I'd just drop two back to back. So figured I would just come in here and deliver a little quickie, drop it off in you real quick. Now, I was watching Breakfast Club this morning, right? And they had a segment on there featuring Steve Harvey, who made these comments about platonic relationships or within relationships. Basically saying that men and women who were in relationships couldn't be friends outside of relationships with other men and women. Don't know if I worded that correctly, but you get my drift. Now, I beg to differ on the topic, but before I get into how I feel about it, it seems like I actually was looking at it earlier, and these comments were taken from an interview that Steve Harvey did about a book he wrote a decade ago. So this is an old clip, I guess, going viral again today. And I guess I'll post up the what he said, because I don't feel like going to look for it. But
I don't have female friends. I don't. I'm incapable of that.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, because come on.
Because you have a wife.
Well, I have a wife, and I don't really have female friends because look. Okay, let's get rid of this myth right here. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. Let's get rid of this right here. You're an attractive woman. There's some guy somewhere saying, "Yeah, we're friends." No, that's not true. He's your friend only because you have made it absolutely clear that nothing else is happening except this friendship we have. We remain your friends in hopes that one day there'll be a crack in the door, a chink in the armor, and trust and believe that guy that you think is just your buddy, he will slide in that crack the moment he gets the opportunity.
And you
Because
think
we're
most
guys.
men think this way?
99.9% of us think that way. And you tell this to a woman and it just blows her back. No, I have male friends. You have male friends because they know it can be nothing else right now. I tell you what, all your male friends, just ask them in a friendly way. If I wanted to date you, would you be okay with that? And watch the fireworks. Watch. I'm telling you.
here's the thing, man. You should be able to be friends with people of the opposite sex while you're in a relationship. If you can't do that, something's not quite clicking up here. And I respect him for having the awareness to say, me personally, Steve Harvey, I can't do that. I respect that. That's how you keep a relation. Self-awareness is the key to everything. That's really mainly what Uncle Vic Rance is about. It's about self-awareness. So I respect him in that light of saying, yo, I can't do that because I'm going to try to slide in the cracks. Now, as a person who's had best friends my entire life who were women, shout out to my first best friend in 5th, 6th grade, Tiffany. What's good? I ain't spoke to that girl in ages. But I've always had an abundance of female friends. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like that wasn't a problem in my relationships as a young man, because it was. Because everybody's not willing to accept that. And that's what made me feel like I should come here and speak about it, because I know from experience about this particular situation. Now, in the comments, I saw a lot of insecurities. Even after they spoke about it on the Breakfast Club, you got people calling saying, no, that's not okay in my relationship because I had a situation where my wife messed with a dude, or my man and this, that. Like, I saw that a lot in the after comments of the segment. And it was just like, man, the world's an insecure place. There's a lot of insecurity out here. And I understand why. The new version of the relationship is different. Like, I don't even think the sanctity of a partnership is even valued by a lot of our generation. Everybody trying to sneaky link, and that's just the vibe we on right now. Everybody the social media landscape has made the world smaller, so you have access to more women all over the world. The world has become smaller. You can DM and flirt and dick pic yourself to death. But there's a problem with self-control in this discussion. There's a problem with self-confidence in this discussion. Because, to be honest, if you have a mate that is prone to cheating, or just feel like, hey, I want to slip up, or whatever the case is, if you have a mate, there are no platonic friends in the world that can stop that. There's no, as a matter of fact, not having friends would be an easier way to go out and cheat. I was living my best life in promiscuity when I didn't have a whole lot of friends, because it was easy to jump, dip, and dive into any circle. One of my best times was being a side nigga. And maybe one day I'll come back here and talk about the life of a side nigga. Because what a side nigga is, I mean, it's self-explanatory, but for those who don't know what a side nigga is when you're dealing with a woman that has a boyfriend or a husband, and they got a side nigga, and you the side nigga to the side nigga. That is a luxurious lifestyle. Man, one day I'm going to have to do an episode about side niggas. But there's a problem here. People can't control their genitals is what it sounds like. And I just did an episode on King's Disease where I was talking about people walking around here calling themselves kings and queens and not being able to withhold that title in action. You can't be walking around here calling yourself king or queen if you can't control your genitals, man. If you can't have friends of the opposite sex without it leading to sexual intercourse, without it leading to coitus, you got an issue. You have an issue. Something needs to be figured out here, because ain't no friends or lack thereof going to stop a cheating mate from cheating. So if you're in a situation where your significant others can't have friends of the opposite sex because you're worried about them cheating, then you don't need to be in that relationship at all. Okay? That's for one. Which is, like I said, why I respect Steve Harvey for having the self-awareness to say, yo, I'm not going to be active in friendships and have a spouse. Now, what he said was, which the part I do agree with, is ain't no man just really trying to be your friend. I can't speak for women because I don't know how women think. I'm not a woman. But I know how men think, and there is some validity to what he's saying there when he says, there's no man, go ask your homeboy jokingly, but not to the point where he's aware of it. Don't ask him to see if he would date you or try to have sex with you and see if the fireworks don't shoot off. Now, he is right. There are men who accept friendship just because that's the closest they can get to you. And most men are your friends because they're attracted to you. And it's a very small percentage of men who aren't. So he's right in that regard. Me, I guess I'm in the smaller percentage, because I got tons of friends who I look at like cis who are attractive. I got tons of friends who I don't look at like cis who are attractive. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I wouldn't have had sex with them at some point. But you have to value your friendships to a point where you know how to fuck it up, because sex fucks up friendships. There's no way around that. I got friends who, once upon a time, I would have tried them, but I value that person so much that I don't want to lose them. Now, as a young person, I didn't have a lot of that. I didn't have female friends that I could talk to about other women because I slept with all of them. So he's right to some degree. And after a while, that got lonely because I didn't have a woman that I could go to and have stimulating conversation with, or in-depth conversation with, about things that I may have needed a woman's perspective on, because they couldn't have the conversation without it being some sort of tension there due to our history. So at some point I had to wise up and say, yo, if I'm gonna have female friends, I gotta have female friends that I don't sleep with, or that I don't look at like that. And that's when you grow friendships. So I don't agree with a man can't do it because I have tons of female friends. My best friend in the world is my ex-fiance, a person that I used to have tattooed on my skin, if I'm keeping it real. And she's the mother, or she's the godmother of my youngest daughter. And she respects my woman. She respects everything that's going on around me and my life. And all of my other female friends do so. I'm sure I have some that don't. And I'm a flirtatious type of dude. I'm flirty. That's what I do. Now, I'm growing past that point in my life because even that gets old. At some point, as a man, you have to look up and say, I'm 35, I'm 30, I'm 40. You have to grow up. If you can't control your dick, or like I said, if y'all can't control y'all genitals, man, yo, you don't need to be in a relationship anyway. Nobody. But I was just coming here to talk about that. I disagree with that. I'm friends with exes. I'm friends with a lot of different people, but there has to be respect levels on both sides, and you have to keep it all the way 1 million. You have to respect the person that you with. You have to be able to control your Johnson. Everything ain't about, it's something. So I look at men. I'm only gonna speak on men, like I said, because that's what I feel like. I'm a man. I look at men who that's all they, and I got a couple homeboys that's like that, where I'll tune them dudes out, and I love them to death. A couple of my bros, I'll tune them dudes out in conversation when all they talk about is pussy. It's like, damn, you ain't used to no pussy yet? At our age? Grow up, man. You gotta have some value in some other things, man. So I was just dropping in here to just speak on that a little bit, man. If you can't have relationships outside of your relationship that doesn't cause turmoil in your relationship with the opposite sex, then you don't need to be in a relationship, and you need to practice a lot more self-awareness and figure it out. And if you can't do that, I also respect it. But if you can't do that, again, don't get in a relationship unless you're willing to say, yo, I can't do this way. I won't have friends of the opposite sex. But then that becomes a slippery slope, because as a person who thinks like that, more than likely, you want your woman to not have no male friends. And I'm not sitting here saying you should be able to trust a person, because at the end of the day, you can't stop somebody from doing whatever the fuck they want to do. You don't own anybody. Slavery is over to some degree. You don't own anybody. At some point in life, we have to let our children go into the world. If you don't own your kids, you damn sure don't own nobody else's child. And despite how you look at it, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you with somebody else's child. So how about that? Practice treating that person like you'd want somebody to treat your child. Because at some point, your child gonna be in a relationship with somebody. I guess I'll end it there. Uncle Vic out.
Wow.